Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacob, and today in this video I'm going to be reviewing my study experiment. Now this is day 30, so if there was a time at day 1 where I didn't even know how long I was going to do this for. And as time went on, I said 31 days, and then I started saying like 100 days, and who really knows how long I'm going to do it for, but I basically almost already hit 31 days. And so it's day 30, and I've basically averaged about 6 hours a day. So I'm at 182 hours of studying. Of course, my studying is 45 minutes on and then 15 minutes off. And basically an hour for me is 45 minutes unstructured. I might do a couple in a row. I might take breaks. It all depends on how I'm feeling and how the fatigue is or the enthusiasm or whatever, right? So recently, in my previous video, I talked about meditation and some of the struggles that I've been having recently. And I feel like this is still true for me, but I feel like I'm also in another sort of learning spree, sort of. Like I got 6 hours done today. Now it is Friday, but I'm feeling like super motivated, and a lot of this has to do with I have been writing code again, right? I told you guys about how I didn't write any code for like 25 days or something, and then I started doing some exercises with code, and this is just my style with learning a lot of the time, and it's great. Basically, a whole lot of the reason I went on this voyage, if you go back in time, was so that I could code certain things, so that I could solve certain problems. But I didn't want to solve the problems in a hackish, low comprehension sort of way. I wanted to solve the problems in a generic, deeper understanding level where, like, the reason I could solve the problem is because I understood how to use tools. And I couldn't just solve that one problem. I could solve a huge set of problems that are all similar to that problem. I feel like I'm really getting a lot closer to that. Like one of the things I made today as a POC in like 3 to 4 hours was just great. I mean, like maybe some of the best UI stuff I've done. Period. This is sort of like how this stuff goes down. You put a lot of time into learning and studying stuff, and then you come back and you just start writing, and you get so much further. And so I'm honestly going to probably just keep doing the same thing. I'm still not in app writing mode, but for those of you that are interested, I've got a couple different really cool app ideas. One I think has decent potential, actually. Another is sort of just another stepping stone for me. There's definitely good things with every app that I do. I try and accomplish more, like get further in terms of power. One of the huge concepts that I've grown to understand is the apps that you make are not the product. This is going to sound crazy, but it's not the apps that we're concerned with. It's the app maker, which is ourself. So every app that we make, we should treat it like it's disposable, like it's not that important. Because what we're really doing, what we're really focusing on, is building ourselves into basically like someone capable of making something useful out of nothing over and over and over again. And this kind of comes, uh, this goes along the same lines as this sort of mentality, which is like, a lot of people want to make apps so that they can have money and succeed. And to be honest, that is exactly where I am to some extent. But what's funny is, even after, so let's say that I did receive enough money to basically do whatever I want for the rest of my life without any sort of pressure. I'd probably do, I might still just do stuff with programming. I might not be building the same types of apps, but I'm pretty sure I would still be doing stuff with programming, honestly. That aside, the way that you should think about trying to succeed in the computer science realm is, you should think about it like, okay, let me rephrase this. So let's say you want to make a good app and you want to like make money with it and you want it to succeed and blah blah blah. A lot of people's approach to this is to invest a lot of time into a app and try and make it good, right? This is not my approach at all. My approach is very, very much so more like, invest an immense amount of time in myself and a very small amount of time into my apps, and eventually you can sink more time into your apps, right? But it's just, don't ever get off track. Like, it took me a while to realize that, like, I'm not trying to create apps. To me, after I become skilled enough, good apps might just be like a dime a dozen. Like, the way to think about it is like, once you've made a good app, I think a lot of people, the way that they see it is, they're like, if I'm lucky, I might be able to make one good app. But the way that I see it is, if I'm systematic, I will produce many good apps. Like, maybe that's a little bit arrogant, and certainly I haven't proven that at all. I'm way behind in so many different ways, but I don't have to have accomplished that to recognize what I believe is the foundation of that, like mathematical principle. And so, to me, it's pretty clear that if you reach a certain level of carrying capacity, or like power, the ability to channel computer science, making useful apps becomes natural and very easy, or relatively painless and efficient. Other people, because their comprehension and their skill and experience with computer science is so small or limited, kind of have to get lucky and hit a bullseye and like muster together everything they have to try and like produce something. And it's still a very impressive feat, right? But a lot of the time they get so caught up in the business side of things too, and they just lose sight of what is actually at the core of the mathematical, like, I want to say the word saliency. That's probably not the right word, but at the real mathematical core of why apps are useful and are infectious and are used by so many people. What is at the core of that, right? And why would that be something that, it's almost like good apps, there's an infinite amount of them that just exist. It's just human beings' ability to build and see them, right? What you have is two different main camps. You have people who can't see the right apps to build, but still can build apps, but what they end up doing is building copycats all the time. Copycats with very little improvement, if at all. And then you have people that may be able to see what to build, but can't build it because they lack the skill. I think this is very unlikely. I think it's much more likely that um, you know how to build something, but you don't know what you should build and why you should build it. Um, I think it's very hard to know. Yeah, yeah, that's basically what I just said. So I think it's much more common that people do know how to build stuff, but they basically just copy other people's main core examples and patterns, right? Um, and I'm not really sure how to explain this or teach like this type of, you know, um, uh, this skill, I guess. Um, to me, it just seems natural. Like, by studying computer science, you are studying the fundamentals of efficiency. And so it becomes quite obvious what kind of app you should make and what makes it good and why it's good. To me, it is, right? Um, and so, uh, I mean, obviously, it's a process, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like at least at some level I have confidence in a certain mathematical like axiom that I can recognize, that I can pursue, that is ultimately going to yield what I believe is like a successful type of app. And it's like, the right way to think about it is not to try and pick an app to build. It's just to try and build your skills to a point where it's so easy to capitalize on different ideas so efficiently. And then you'll probably have a better intuition about what to build, anyways. But even if I mean, how you build something is so important. It is basically what you're building. So I don't really know. I guess I've been thinking about this a little bit more because I've been writing code and I've been doing some POCs that I'll probably be using to some extent. But at the end of the day, I'm studying all this computer science for a number of reasons. But at the core of it is, I want to build something with it because that's cool and fun and mysterious. I can't predict what I can build, so I'm really interested in exploring the ceiling of what I can build, but I'm also interested in exploring the ceiling of what I can comprehend and see, right? And so that's where those are like the two different sides of the story for me. And that's why, I do love reading code so much, because to me it's a worthwhile endeavor in and of its own. Even if I could never write another piece of code, reading code would still be a very interesting thing to me. That said, it would break my heart if I couldn't write code, especially if I was going to be reading a lot of code. That would just be hard. But what's cool is you can do both. You can read a bunch of code, and then you can write, and then you can write a bunch of code. And it's just amazing what a single person can do, right? This is kind of what I mean. Like, just as a thought experiment, imagine if someone was the smartest person on the planet, like, and they were capable of learning like programming languages and technologies and all of these different abstract rules and whatnot, like super fast, and apply them in like really effective ways. That person could single-handedly like impact so much. I really think that in some ways what we see is computer science and our programs are limited by humans' ability to abstractly reason and build things. They aren't limited by anything else. So that's why it has growth, because our capacity for abstract reasoning and whatnot is quite high. We haven't, like, I don't think, capped that out, quite yet. And we always seem to figure out new ways to sort of like circumvent our own limitations and weaknesses. But like, what is the ceiling? What a single person can do. There are some crazy things, man. Like, just off the top of my head, Guido von Rossum, Python, Linus Torvalds, Git, and a lot of, Linux, although he ported or copied some of it from, oh man, I forgot this guy's name, but he wrote Minix, and he was just a powerhouse. I have a bunch of books by him. I'll have to bring him up. Oh yeah, Andrew Tannenbaum. Is that what it is? Yeah, Tannenbaum. Sorry, I had the book over there. It's sitting on something. Yeah, Andrew Tannenbaum, just crazy guy. Obviously, there's just so many people like this in computer science, and I really wonder, what the limit is. And then you have these sort of like, I read this story about this guy, man, I forgot his name too, but he was one of the people who worked on Reddit pretty early on. He was a young computer scientist. He seemed like a good one. Too bad he killed himself. That was terrible. Anyways, this is a pretty long video, and I've been ranting for a while. But yeah, I don't know what my plan is exactly. Like I said, I don't plan really beyond certain systematic patterns, right? I treat myself a lot like in Python, if you know what in JavaScript too, if you know what a generator is, it's just a function that pauses and repeats forever. Every time you call it, it just reloads its context and does its thing. I treat myself sort of like a generator, where it's like, I don't really know what I'm doing at all. I've lost a lot of what happened in the past. I can't read what the future is. You just kind of like run me, and my context is there, and I follow the rules within that small thing. Things like reading source code is good. Focusing on math is good. Just some of these different, it's a systematic approach rather than, and so I just abide by this system, not knowing the specifics of what it's going to actually yield. And yet, when I do exercises like today, it has the capacity, after going through the exercises I have, to do things that I had no way of doing before. And there's no way that I would have predicted that this is exactly what I'm going to do. But this is what has occurred, right? That said, I did have a pretty good inclination on day 0 of this entire thing that it would work. I just didn't know how and what it would be like, right? But since I've applied these rules before of systematically trying to learn something, I did expect it to have, to affect my capacity, my like skill, my ability to actually do things. But yeah, as I usually say, if you ever make it to the end of my video, really important that you control your own focus. Don't waste your time consuming trash content. Don't waste your time consuming content from me if it's too much. I earnestly believe if you're watching someone too much and you can't really identify what you're learning from them or how they provide a service for you, then you shouldn't be consuming their content. You should be focusing your attention on yourself and learning how to increase your own capacity and power. You know, not not for money alone or anything like that. Humanity just needs more people that are actually skilled and valuable and good, and not corrupted by greed too much. Or at all, really. I don't. Human beings shouldn't fight amongst each other. They should they should not compete and fight. They should definitely cooperate. But we're stuck right now with all these different nations and all these different ideologies and whatnot. And it's not a good look. But we'll see if we get out of it. But yeah, you should take control of your attention and focus it on what is important, right? And that's going to be, I guess, different for different people. But yeah, I would not recommend spending very much time on social media or YouTube, and really kind of try and get a good feeling for like what is it that you're getting from putting your energy into these things. So thanks for watching and take care.